Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar, Elevate Your DDoS Defense with SCION. My name is Yvonne Cano-Helg. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer at Anapaya. I'm very excited to welcome you all to our new webinar series called SCION for Techies, with the goal of introducing new SCION topics to our audience and to all of our partners and customers. Let's get started today with just a couple of housekeeping rules. So first of all, we have a Q&A function here as part of Zoom. Feel free to use this throughout the webinar to ask all of your questions. We will be answering all of those questions at the end of the webinar in chronological order. We are recording the session. The goal is to share that recording and also the follow-up material, including the presentation, with all of you after the call today. And finally, we have a survey as part of our communication that will go out after the webinar. And please feel free to share all of your feedback with us on how we can improve and also maybe any additional topics that you would like us to cover in these webinars. Now, I would like to just quickly introduce who we are. So we are Anapaya. We were founded in 2017. We emerged out of ETH Zurich, and our goal is to create SCION-based solutions for global organizations. We're on a mission to build a secure and reliable, flexible internet. We are a company of 33 employees from 20 different nationalities, and we've been recognized by Gartner and Wavestone, and also as one of the top 100 Swiss startups. Now I would like to introduce you all to our speaker, our presenter of today. His name is Dario Colacicco. He's the Chief Product Officer at Anapaya. Dario, I pass it over to you.
Thanks, Yvonne, and welcome also from my end. So my name is Dario Colacicco, and I'm the Chief Product Officer at Anapaya. I have been working now since more than 30 years in the ICT industry. And here at Anapaya, we have a big mission to make the internet better and more secure. So our job in product management is to productivize the SCION protocol so that it's a practical solution for businesses, and that businesses and partners can use the SCION protocol as a solution. So today I will show you how SCION can help reducing the DDoS attacks by eliminating the attack surface. On the next slide, we see the agenda. So here's a quick overview of today's session. First, for those who are not familiar with SCION, I will briefly explain what it is and why it matters. Then we will look at an example of how SCION works in a DDoS scenario. Next, we will explore some real-world DDoS attacks and attack types. After that, I will explain why traditional DDoS protection is often not enough and how SCION solves these problems. At the end, as Yvonne mentioned, we will have a Q&A session where I can ask your question. So let's get started. What is SCION? So SCION is not just another network technology or a new network technology, it's a new internet architecture. The current internet was never built with security in mind, but SCION was designed to fix exactly this weakness. So other than BGP, SCION gives customers full control of their data in the SCION network. They can choose which networks carry their traffic and which path it takes. SCION has built-in security to eliminate many of today's known attack vectors. SCION ensures high availability even during outages or cyber attacks. And super important, SCION is ready for the future. So it can grow with companies for small networks to also large global systems. Now let's have a look on the SCION internet and on the Anapaya products. So on this slide, you see SCION in used in practice. So Anapaya offers products that make SCION easy to implement for businesses and service providers. The SCION Core enables internet providers to integrate SCION into their network and offer SCION internet to their customers. Then the SCION Edge is a business access point. Let's imagine like a CP that you're using for your normal internet connection, allowing companies to secure connect. Then we have the SCION gate. The SCION gate is designed for users providing SCION access through internet service providers. So all SCION appliances can be managed through a web tool. We call it the Anapaya console, which provides a simple way to control and monitor the whole SCION network. Now, it's always hard to understand or to imagine what DDoS is. And on the next slides, we see a picture, because DDoS is sometimes a little bit difficult to imagine. So let's have a look on this visual example. So let's imagine a castle. This castle represents your company or the company that you're working for. So traditional security solutions like firewalls, DDoS protection, website protection, SASE, or VPN, they act as the castle's defense. They provide protection with, let's imagine, thick walls, strong gates, barred windows. Now, just like a company, a castle needs windows and it needs gates. So businesses must allow access to the internet for employees, customers, or partners. But what happens if an attacker is powerful enough? If they keep increasing the firepower, they can eventually break through the walls and cause serious damage. Or, for example, if there is a broken window, this is similar to a zero-day weakness. Attackers can slip through the castle and bypass the security. Now, this is an example how DDoS is working today. Now, on the next slide, we see a picture how SCION is working, because SCION is working completely different. So it's like a hidden secret place instead of a castle. There are no visible attack surface. There is no public access point that attackers can find or maybe scan or exploit. And even if there is a security vulnerability, attackers could not reach it. So SCION does not protect the building with thicker walls, better windows, like the conventional solutions are doing. Instead, it makes attacks impossible by removing the visibility and enforcing controlled pathways. So it's not here anymore, the castle. And this is the benefit of SCION. Now, on the next slide, we see some examples of real-world DDoS attacks. So in January this year, there was a large-scale attack on the canton of Lucerne, and also on the cantonal bank of Vaud during the World Economic Forum. Maybe you know already, a hacker group in particular targeted financial institutions and government services. And what was the problem? It was an open door. It was a public IP address, making them visible and so easy to attack. Another example was a DDoS attack on the canton of Schwyz last November. So several government websites were offline for hours. As I remember, more than 4 hours. And the Swiss National Cybersecurity Center, BACS, had to take emergency actions. So in both cases, the public visibility of an IP address was the weakness that allowed to attackers to happen this DDoS attack. Now, let's hear from you. We have some questions. So what do you think is the most common type of a DDoS attack? Good. We have three points. So we have the volumetric attack, then the protocol-based attack objective, and then attack on application level or API level.
All right, Dario. So we're getting our responses in here. We're about 50. Okay, we're almost there. Just going to give everybody a few more seconds to submit their response. All right, we're missing just a few more responses, and then I'll close the poll.
So let's see.
All right, closing the poll now. And you should see now the responses, Dario.
Perfect. So we have 60% on the first one, volumetric attacks, then 40% only on protocol-based attacks, and 27% on the application layer attacks. And that's totally correct. So the volume-based attacks are the most used ones. Why? They are super easy to do and today super cheap. So what is a volume-based attack? It's a bandwidth overload. For an example, DNS amplification. So the responsive packages are multiply the traffic, and this causes a volume-based attack. Then the protocol-based attack is more an explanation on the network weaknesses. Also here an example is a flooding, an overload of servers through half-open connections. And the third one is the attack on the application level. So maybe overloading web services or APIs. For an example here, maybe HTTP flooding. So that means rendering servers unusable through millions of legitimate requests. But the most used is the volume-based attack. So then I have another question. So if your network or your company was attacked, what will be your biggest concern? So is it first the service downtime and the lost revenue, reputation damage and customer trust loss, then high mitigation costs and operational impact, potential security breach as a distraction, and we are prepared. I'm not too concerned. This could also be an option. Let's figure it out.
All right, so we're about 70% there, just waiting for a few more responses. And I'll close off the poll in a few seconds. All right. Anyone else? Okay, closing the poll now. Now you should see the results, Dario.
Okay, that's different than the webinar of yesterday. So we have 25% of service downtime and lost revenue, then 40%, this was the most chosen, is reputation damage and customer trust. Then we have then the third one was potential security breaches as a distraction. And the fourth one was high mitigation costs and operational impact. Nobody answered, we are prepared, and I'm not concerned. This is great. Cool. So let's move on. Now let's discuss how SCION can reduce the attack surface. I think this is super important to understand. Now let's take a VPN as an example. Instead of using a VPN in the normal internet, you're using a VPN in the SCION internet. This is a big difference. That means a firewall or a VPN that you're using today, they have public IP addresses, which means attackers can easily find and scan them. Then we have also attackers, they can exploit the zero-day vulnerability to bypass security mechanism. Then we have DDoS mitigation services. I mean, this may sound like a good solution, but these solutions are always reactive. They only take action once an attack is already happening. And to be honest, they are also sometimes expensive and not always super effective. Then a super important one is reactive DDoS protection increases also latency. So this is the reason that in most solutions, the traffic has to be redirected, maybe analyzed, and then also filtered, which slows down also the connections. And with this, in this manner, this is not happening with SCION. So with SCION, this problem doesn't exist. Now, how can SCION now reduce the attack surface? We will see on the next slide. So let's look at the picture. In the middle, you see this VPN service. This is an example that we take now. Let's take a VPN concentrator. So instead of making it accessible through the public internet, we connect it to the SCION internet. To connect the VPN service, we are using the edge service, which then links VPN to the SCION network. Now let's look at what happened when a user wants to connect. You see the users on the right side, the remote users. So instead of routing the traffic through the public internet, the traffic automatically enters into the SCION network via gate. So SCION then delivers it securely to the VPN service. What is important here to mention is that the users doesn't need any special software on the hardware. So I make an example. If I'm connecting with my mobile phone to this VPN server, I don't have to have any software on my mobile phone. They connect then on top the VPN as usual. But now this is great because the VPN server itself is not longer exposed to the open internet. It's in the SCION internet. So, and also as a customer, you can decide which internet provider can route your traffic to your service, to your VPN service. So that means, this is an example now with VPN, but you can also take a web service or a database behind SCION and connect it with an edge server. So that means that attacks from the internet are completely blocked. So with this approach, we can reduce the attack surface by 99%. So SCION ensures on top that the service is always available, secure, and also easy to activate. One more thing to mention here is, so if somebody has malicious intents and he's sitting within an ISP, this could theoretically be, and they could reach also the SCION internet. But however, in practice, this is almost impossible because we trust our ISPs and they have very strong mechanism to secure that. Now, to our last slide, what are the key takeaways? So let's wrap up things. These are for me the most important one if it comes to DDoS and SCION. So first, SCION is not a traditional DDoS protection, but it eliminates the attack surface, making attacks impossible. Secondly, proactive security is more efficient than reactive DDoS mitigation. And third, the best defense is a combination of SCION with existing security measures like firewalls, DDoS protection, and so on. So SCION means stopping attacks before they even happen. You can choose from the old internet, or you can choose from the new internet. And it's a new product. It's an added value for the end customers and for the customers. I mean, we always approach more the customers in the critical infrastructure, but I see also a big benefit for the normal customer. And what I see is that the expansion here in Switzerland was not so fast, but I believe it's a little bit a Swissy thing. What I see is that in Benelux, it's going much faster. So you know already, maybe we have these two new partners, Odido and Proximus Next, and they are super fast and they are willing now to expand their portfolio with SCION and sell this new internet.
Great. Thank you so much, Dario. We have no more questions from the audience, so I want to just remind everyone that we do have a few more webinars coming up. We have one actually in 2 weeks with our CTO, Sam, and we're announcing new webinars for April and May. So I really want to thank everybody for joining us. If you have additional questions after the webinar, you can also just email Dario directly with any particular questions you may still have. So I'll give everybody a second here to scan the QR code. Otherwise, thank you everyone for joining. I wish you all a lovely day and see you at the next one. Thanks so much.